Today we want to share our top 5 tips for how you can get out of debt quickly, because even though we've gotten into a lot of debt, we've also managed to get out of it quickly by following these steps. So we don't know everything, we didn't do everything perfectly, but we just want to share with you what's worked for us.
And we are by no means patting ourselves on the back, because anybody can do this, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. At any income level, at any debt level, anybody can do it.
Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. If we haven't met before, I'm married to Tom and we have 4 kids ages 5 through 10. And we made a royal mess of our finances when we were first married.
Yeah, like pretty bad.
I think what it comes down to is that most of us weren't taught how to handle credit, debt, paychecks after we graduated from high school. Do you think that's true? And so our parents did the best that they could with what they had, but we grew up, at least for us, we grew up in a different generation and had different opportunities to get into debt than our parents had. Okay, so step number 1 is...
you have to hate your debt. You have to hate it. You have to hate it so much that you want to do something about it.
I would say for most of us, we have to hit rock bottom before we actually get to the point where we're really serious about doing something about it. I know Tom watches Dave Ramsey's YouTube videos all the time, and what does he ask the people when they come in to do their debt-free scream?
What happened X amount of time ago? Like, it's either, okay, hey, it took us 12 months to get debt free, or 2 years, or 5 years, or whatever. And he always says, okay, so what happened 48 months ago? Because there's always a why.
Yeah.
There's always something that you got so sick and tired of that you're like, I am done with this.
Yeah. And I think what's important to remember is that this why has to be really significant, because the temptations aren't going to go away. What got you into debt isn't going to go away, whether it's really enjoying driving new vehicles or wearing the latest fashions or buying stuff for your kids. Those temptations aren't going anywhere. So you have to know the reason you're getting out of debt, and it has to be much bigger than all of those temptations that are in front of us. All right, so step number 2 is you have to have a plan. So for us, we did the Dave Ramsey program a couple years into our marriage. I bought the CDs for Tom so he could listen to them on his drive, and we did really well for quite a while. Do you know what happened then? Tom got a job and he got a raise. And so we were making more money.
Like a big raise, yeah.
So a lot of our pain went away, and then we lost momentum with our program. But then we did recommit to it once we had another breaking point of being so tired of being stressed about money, and we recommitted to it. So the Dave Ramsey program is definitely what we would recommend. What do you like most about it?
Watch the debt-free screams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of them debt-free screams will make you freaking bawl.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you are so proud and so freaking happy for the people and what they did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that actually leads me to step number 3, and that's to surround yourself with people who are on the same journey as you. And so what's so great is that there are thousands of YouTube videos now, either by Dave Ramsey himself or other people on the debt-free journey. There's tons of Instagram accounts and Facebook groups and accounts. And so it really helps if you can build your tribe around people that are going through this same process, because they're gonna continue to motivate you on the days when it gets hard.
I think for me what happened was, like Dawn said, we started it early on, then we fell off the charts pretty hardcore and never looked back, right? We just spent like a typical American and just ignored it.
I would say we had more awareness of the debt we were getting into because of it.
I tried to ignore it.
Oh yeah, okay.
So anyway.
We have different approaches.
I tried to ignore it. So I took a different job, and I ended up meeting a coworker who did the Dave Ramsey plan and was on like step 6 or something. And he was younger than we are.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, people actually do it?
Right.
Like,
they're not just on YouTube.
And so then it was like game on for me. I'm like, okay, if he can do it, we're doing this. Is it? We're doing this. That's where the competition. That's where the Priuses came from.
And what was funny was that when we talked about when we first started driving the Priuses, a lot of people were like, "Are you doing the debt-free journey or whatever?" And because that is one of the steps for a lot of people to downgrade your vehicle.
We didn't have vehicle loans at the time. We have in the past, but we didn't have vehicle loans at the time. But I looked at it and I thought, we got money sitting in the driveway that we don't need. Let's
So we sold
Make some of that money, get rid of debt.
Yeah. And they've been really cheap to drive and maintain. And we knew it was just for a season. We know we're gonna be to a point pretty soon where Tom can buy whatever truck he wants to buy. And so
you heard it. Everybody heard it.
So
mark down the minute number of this video.
And you don't feel cool, like pulling up to the kids' school or different places. You don't feel cool, but you just remind yourself.
Especially not a smashed Prius.
Yeah, that made it a little worse. But you just keep the blinders on and you stay focused. So step number 4 is to include your spouse in the budgeting. And so we had gotten to the point where I was doing most of the bill paying, managing our accounts, because it would stress Tom out a lot of the time.
It would.
And so I was like, I got it. And so I managed to keep the ship afloat, but we weren't getting ahead. And so we had to get to a point where both of us were equally involved with our budget and where we were spending our money. And that made a big difference with us being on the same page with it.
Our finances have always been joined, but when I got looking at our finances all the time and budgeting together, I freak out, right? Like,
well, you just didn't know how much it cost to run a household, really. Like how much our bills.
Yeah,
like Tom would get paid, I would pay bills, and he's like, where did my whole paycheck go? I'm like, it costs money to live. Like,
I would turn into OCD guy and I'd be like, okay, what is that? What did that cost and why is it here? Who paid for it and why is it here? Like,
and then I'm like, this is why I don't involve you in this. Or I'll be like, if you want to do it all, then you do it all, you know? And that lasts like a month.
Yeah, it works super great.
So I couldn't believe, I mean, we cannot encourage you enough to take this seriously and to do this journey, because I cannot believe how much stress we were, see, I'm gonna cry when I talk about this. I can't believe how much stress we were living with by having debt and, you know, student loans, credit cards, car payments, medical bills. It was overwhelming, and I know how it makes you want to stick your head in the sand and not look up and just not even look at it.
It makes you feel like there is nothing you can do that will ever get you out of that hole. I remember writing out all of our debts that were non-mortgage. I remember writing them all out initially and going,
why even try?
No way. There's no way we're going to get to that. No way.
And so what's good to remember is that somebody has more debt than you, and somebody's had more debt. And
watch the debt-free screams. A lot of people have more debt. A
lot of people make way less money than you, and they've gotten out of debt. They've made a bigger mess with their finances, and they've gotten out of debt. So there is literally no situation that is hopeless, and it really is encouraging if you listen. I mean, because you'll hear people are like, I have $1 million in student loans, you know, and it's like, you can't liquidate student loans, right?
So I knew what we had for student loans between the two of us, right? And then I watched some debt-free screams and I was like,
oh, that's
what? You had how much? And their income wasn't there.
And you're not
either.
a doctor?
Right. But they paid them off. Yeah. And I was like, okay, there's something to this.
All right, so step number 5 is to just get started. Add up what you owe, pick out a plan that you think you can stick to, and even if your spouse or other people in your household are not completely on board yet, you do what you can do with what you have and just get started, and it is gonna be, all right, you say it.
It's worth it.
And I love what, I remember one time when I transferred colleges, and not as many of my credits transferred, so I thought I should only have a year left of college. And when I talked to the career counselor, he's like, you have about a year and a half left. And I'm like, what? Like, how, you know? And it was really defeating at the time. And I remember what he said was, the next year is gonna pass anyways, whether you decide to keep moving forward with your degree or not. And so the next year, the next 2 years are gonna pass anyways, but you get to decide whether at the end of that next year, you're gonna either be out of debt or you're gonna be so much more closer towards being out of debt. So you get to decide what this next year is gonna look like.
You have to stay focused, because when you first start out, it feels like you're getting nowhere, but as soon as you start building some traction, it starts getting fun, and you think, okay, where else can I squeeze some bucks out of this thing? Because we're going for this.
And fully expect that the first week that you commit to it, that like something like the washing machine.
Something catastrophic is gonna happen.
When we recommitted, our washing machine stopped. I remember we had friends and they had just recommitted and they needed new tires on their van because they got a flat tire. And so just know life is still gonna happen, but you'll get through it, and then you'll be able to keep going, and it'll build your confidence in yourself. All right, well, it's worth it. It's one of the best decisions. Next to simplifying our house, it's one of the best decisions that we've ever made. So we'll link to some of our—
The two go hand in hand, absolutely.
Yeah.
They totally go hand in hand.
And if you have been simplifying, it definitely makes it go a lot easier too. So we'll link to some of our favorite Dave Ramsey resources down below. Be sure to leave questions, whatever questions you have. Again, we're not experts in this. We just like to share what worked for us, and then we will do a separate video on how we budget now. Tom's spreadsheet. If you're into spreadsheets, me, I'm not. I'll show you my calendar that I use. So we'll share.
Calendar's not accurate enough.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? And we're different in a way, but that's okay. So, and if you have gotten out of debt, please share that down below. We are on step number 3 of the Dave Ramsey.
Yeah,
is that
pretty
right?
curious. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're on the 3rd step now, saving up our emergency fund. And so leave it down below. Where are you at? Or if this is something that you know would make a big difference for your family, leave that down below too, and we will cheer you on and encourage you and hold you accountable. So, all right, we hope you subscribe so that we can spend more time together. A thumbs up is always appreciated, and we'll visit with you again soon.
Bye-bye.